guys, today we're do a Fortnite Battle Pass skin tier list from Chapter 5 Season 1 to Chapter 2 Remix, and the tier list will go from S to F, and we're going to start with S tier.
So, first on that tier list is definitely going to be a dude with a very OP shotgun, and he was a pretty easy boss though, but nonetheless, he has tons of drip, so he's going into the S tier. This is my dude, Oscar.
Our second character for the S tier list will be Nisha. Her AR was very overpowered, like 250 damage per second, and her skin had a smaller hitbox, which is an advantage. So she gets an S tier.
Well, third up in the S tier list is definitely going to be someone that was a tougher boss for a lot of people, but if you managed to take him down, you were rewarded with a Harbinger SMG, which had a ton of damage, almost OP even, and awesome fire rate too. Also, his skin was really cool. This dude is none other than Hades, going in the S tier. Wow.
Alright, our fourth skin in the S tier list will be Megalodon. Now, Megalodon's skin was insanely cool, and the combat shoddy was super good. The only comment I have to say were the Nitro Fists were too OP when the opponents had them. When you got them, they're an amazing experience, so that's why he stays S tier.
That's pretty good. Next up on that S tier list is gonna be someone I think deserves to be even above the S tier list. This is Emma Frost. Emma Frost was just a phenomenal person to fight. She had this crazy OP AR, and the control rate, it wasn't like Nisha's with 250 plus damage per second. It was still amazing, and the only negative thing I have to say about getting this was the raft was way too contested.
Alright, our final person for the S tier list is none other than Dr. Doom. Now, he was a difficult boss in general with all the health he had, but if you managed to take him down, you were rewarded with a Siphon Medallion, the Dr. Doom Gauntlets, and the Monarch Pistol, which are all good weapons. Another thing is that the Doom Island was sick when you became Doom, and it was almost a guaranteed win.
That's pretty cool. I agree, that was a good character. Now we're going to move on to the A tier characters. My first pick for that is definitely my favorite fiery redhead. That's Valeria. The only reason why she goes this high is because of the SMG. Also, her minions are literally enhanced difficulty for some reason, but she's going to get the A tier.
Alright, next on our A tier is Monty. Now, the reason he got to A tier is because the Enforcer he had did like 40 body shot damage, which is really good for an Enforcer AR, and his skin out of diamonds looked very cool. And the only reason he didn't get an S tier was because the fire rate of that AR was so slow, bro.
I agree, his skin with the diamonds did look really awesome. So, my next pick for the A tier is one of my favorite cartoon characters, believe it or not. This is gonna be my man, Peter Griffin. And I'm sorry to all the fans of Peter Griffin, but his hitbox was huge, and it gave a huge disadvantage to people who picked them. Damage-wise, the hammer pump was better than Oscar's shotgun, but in every other way, Oscar's shotgun was better. But I gotta admit, he was the coolest medallion, so that's what gets him an A tier.
Alright, moving on to the other character. We got Zeus. Zeus' lightning bolt was good at first until people knew how to counter it. But it would do good damage when it wasn't countered. The DMR would be trash if you didn't know how to use it, but if you did, then it would do good damage, like 110 headshot damage. But again, the gun being kind of inaccurate and slow firing makes it kind of useless. But the skin was very cool, and so was the medallion, so he gets an 18.
That's pretty cool. I did like Zeus. I thought he was a cool character. Next up, my pick on the A tier list is the Machinist. Machinist's combat AR gives it an A because it was incredibly good when you had it. well, you didn't. It was a little too overpowered, especially with Nitro. So that's why she's going to go into the A tier list.
Alright, next up, we got Ringmaster Scar. Now, Ringmaster Scar was an amazing skin, but her crossbow was so annoying to get eliminated by her from it. But when you had it, it was awesome because if people tried to escape fights by car, they really couldn't because the crossbow loaded up, stopped people from escaping fights.
So, next pick for me on the A tier, definitely going to be one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. Hope everybody knows who this is. That is my boy Mysterio. His invisibility medallion was alright, but the shotgun was honestly really good, and the orb as his head was a pretty creative design because that's exactly how he's portrayed in the comics. The only thing I have to say is when he makes his clones, you can obviously tell which one is him, so that's a no-brainer.
Alright, next up for the A tier, we got Pilverine. I like the idea with mixing up Wolverine and Pillar, which is awesome, and his claws are so cool, but the reason he gets an A tier is because he's taller and has a bigger hitbox, which is a disadvantage, so he gets A tier.
The A tier, Pillarine. So, last one for the A tier is actually one of my favorite skin designs so far in the 5th chapter. He's going to get an A tier mostly because he is kind of like Midas, which brings nostalgia, so that's why he goes so high. His Pew rifle was decent, so that's why he doesn't get an S tier. That's my buddy Meowdus. They tried to sneak into the S tier, you saw that?
Alright, moving on to the B tier characters. Now we got Hope. Hope wasn't really my favorite character, but because she was an important character in the storyline, she gets a B tier.
That's cool. That's fair. So, I am very excited to introduce my next character. My next character is honestly a character from one of the very first video games I ever played. Not the very first, but one of the next generations in 3D stuff. And this is my friend Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. He had this like awesome aesthetic with Solid Snake skin, but come on, no one's gonna fall for a random cardboard box in the middle of grassland. So I think that's why we give him a B tier.
Alright, we got Vengeance Jonesy. Jonesy's duotone version was very cool. It was also an important part of the storyline, so he can get a B tier.
I got another B tier pick. This is my last one of the B tiers, and my last one of the B tiers. You got one coming up. So this is going to be one of my favorite Olympic gods, and this is Poseidon. Poseidon's blue color matched with the water, so if you wanted to hide from opponents in the water, he was an awesome choice. That was that bush camp dad skill right there. The slurp effect was also really cool, so that's why he's getting that B tier.
Alright, we got Tiantina. Tiantina's crossbow was good, and her skin was also cool with the dynamite style, so she gets a B tier.
Nice. Moving on to the C tiers, the crap tiers. Nah, this is, mid stuff. So, first pick on that would have to be Medusa, also another Olympic god. She wasn't really the best skin in my opinion, but snakes for her hair, that's just wild. And if you looked at her the wrong way in the mythology, you would turn to stone.
Alright, we got Korra. Now, Korra with waterbending was so cool, but Korra's skin was kind of mid, so I'm gonna put her in C tier.
I'm amazed that you put her in C tier, to be honest, man. I kind of would have went a little higher with Korra, because, man...
Waterbending was just too OP, man.
Dude, a Norman's gonna see this and be very upset. So, next up on my C tier picks, it's gonna be Rust. Despite the fact that he has one of my favorite bands shirts on, Rust was just mid, because he was one of the most forgotten skins in the Battle Pass. So, the Metallica collab was really what gets him into the C. Honestly, if he was a better skin, he would have been S tier all the way because of that Metallica collab.
Alright, moving on. We got T60 Power Armor. Now, the designs for the skin in the Battle Pass were really cool, but the only thing that I didn't like was, again, with the like bigger body, which is like more of a disadvantage with the bigger hitbox. So unfortunately, he's going into C tier, but he was still good.
Nice. All right, my next pick in the C tier list, we got Bright Raider. Bright Raider, honestly, to be honest, it's just a copy of Bright Bomber, and she was very mid-skin. That's why she's getting C tier.
Alright, next we got Cerberus. Now, it's kind of interesting with him because he was a good skin and all, but the mythic shotgun he had was very mid, and the reason he gets a C is because why didn't they put a drum mag on the shotgun, bro? If they would have, then he would have gone way higher. But we gotta stick him to C tier.
Next up and last on my list is Magneto. Magneto definitely is an awesome character. What do you want to talk about with Magneto?
Magneto, he was alright, but what I gotta say is the Magneto gloves were way too OP. They will counter like 100 damage to the body and like 450 car damage, so they needed to get nerfed badly, so he's gonna go into C.
Yeah, I think that's fair for Magneto, truthfully. So moving on to the D tier characters, my very first pick tier is gonna be Artemis. Artemis is gonna go in E tier category. She just wasn't my favorite, but also isn't the worst character, so that's kind of why she's gonna go with a D.
Alright, next up for D, we got Peabody. Now with Peabody, he was like, he wasn't the most important, but what stops him from getting an F, because he was kind of a weird skin, because those 3Ps kind of creepy, not gonna lie, but
It's true.
the emote he had where you would like sing the Ps was really cool, so he gets a D. That's
Cool.
being nice.
That is kind of being nice. You're kind of being nice about it. So, my next D tier character is honestly even one of my least favorite Marvel people, and that's going to be Shuri. The only good thing about Shuri is when she turns into the Black Panther, but to be honest, her costs were kind of trash, so just going to D tier.
Next up, we got War Machine. Now, the reason I put him in D is because, bro, the War Machine weapon was way too overpowered, man. You would spam those turrets and like, oh my gosh. It was so much for sweats, bro. Like, if you overrode the ability, bro, oh my gosh. It was so OP, and like, I probably couldn't even handle those War Machine turrets.
That's true. The only thing that can kind of counteract that was like the Captain Machine sometimes. So, moving on to the E tier list. All right, the first pick on the E tier list is Aphrodite. Well, you didn't even put War Machine in there, dude. Sorry, War Machine. Now, Aphrodite is going up into the E category. She was just awful. I barely even used her, and I really don't have much else to say about it. Just
Alright, next up, we got Gwenpool. Now, what would have been cooler is like, maybe like, switching up, maybe adding back like, it gives me like chapter 3 vibes with the Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Gwenpool. So if they made like, I don't know, maybe like a mix of like, they had like the Deadpool Deagles or something, like the pink Deadpool Deagles, and like she had like web slingers as like Stacy Gwen. So that would have been like a cool mix up between the Deadpool and Stacy Gwen. But overall, she was, I mean, I would barely use her, so she goes into an E tier.
Yeah, same. I would never use her. So, my other pick and my last pick for the E category is going to be Captain Jonesy. Captain Jonesy was just a copy of Captain America, and I would have rather had him in the battle past the Captain Jonesy. The only reason he doesn't get an F tier is because the Captain America shield was decent, but sometimes it was actually really awesome in some scenarios, just depending on who you were playing against.
Alright, now moving on to the F tier. Now, for the first F tier, we got Chaos Director. Now, the reason she gets F is because basically, like, I have almost no words because, like, it's basically not usable. She literally, the second I got her, I was just waiting to get the other skins because she was really that terrible that I was like, let me just level up quickly so I don't have to deal with that skin.
That makes sense.
Man, I was literally wearing like other skins from the past battle passes, bro.
Not sir.
I know.
So my next pick and my last pick for this tier list is going to be 1 Ball. 1 Ball was just a copy of 10 Ball and 8 Ball, and it had no purpose to it at all. This game was so bad, it almost made me not want to buy the remix Battle Pass. I want my refund, which is what that category is called.
Alright, now the last skin for the F tier is going to be Undercover Sky. Now, if I'm being honest, that skin just looks like Epic Games spent 5 minutes just making a skin for the Battle Pass and just didn't care at all at what they were making. So she gets an F tier.
Yep, and honestly, that's our tier list for this chapter entirely. Honestly, mostly good characters between the S and the A rank. Just a few on the D to the E to the F component. So overall, not a bad chapter in regards to these things. Anything else you want to say?
I mean, it was a really good chapter that I enjoyed, and I hope to maybe make another one for chapter 6 maybe later.
That would be cool.
Yeah, maybe every season we can make like a tier list for the Battle Pass skins. So see you guys later, and looking forward to the next video.
Later, guys.